What's up everyone, this is Hedon. I'm excited to bring to you today my Golem Necromancer. This video is going to be a long one and I'm not going to have any cuts in it, so it's just going to be one long comprehensive rant explaining everything about the build and all the little nuances. So let's get started with the Book of the Dead. For Reapers, Reapers have a 15% chance to carve the flesh off of enemies. As many of you are aware, there's a bug going on where these Reapers actually get the benefit of the cooldown as well. So if you take the cooldown, you're just getting cooldown. If you take this one, you're getting both, so might as well take both. Skeletal mages, we're going to go with the 3% increased damage for each shadow mage. This one will technically proc the shadow blight from the weapon faster, but this will just end up leading to an overall DPS increase because, as I'll explain later, you'll be able to have the blighted aspect that's on the weapon permanently up all the time. So just go with this one, it's more damage. Blood Golem, going with the second one, which is going to give the Golem just a lot more damage. This is the damage dealer of the build. The skeletons are just there for utility and to buff the Golem's damage. It's the mage's damage and even the warrior's damage is negligible compared to this guy. Let's go over the skill tree. So we're just going to put 2 points into Reap. We're not going to be using it. We just need to do that to move down to the next wheel. Max out Hued Flesh. There's not a lot of good skills to take here. So yeah, this is the next valuable thing. Max out this. Put 1 point in this just so you can move down to this wheel. I maxed out Blood Mist. There are many times when I'm running the pit or even just bosses when I'm permanently immune. So having this reduces us from, I'm at 19.3 seconds. It's going to bring us down to 16.69. This is a pretty substantial buff. So go ahead and max this out. Come up and grab Dreadful Blood Mist. We are not going to be running with the Grasping Veins aspect because we are essentially crit capped without it. So we're going to free up the aspect and we're going to get a new one, which I'll explain later. So yeah, take this. We're going to have so many corpses going. This is negligible. This is like essentially nothing. So yeah, just take this. Max out Skeletal Warrior Mastery. Put 1 point into Corpse Explosion up to Blighted Corpse Explosion. This is going to help us proc our Shadow faster so we can keep the Blighted aspect up on the weapon via Blood Mist with the explosive aspect on the boots. So just go ahead and take this. It's also this combination with the Blood Mist and the corpses with the shadow going. Not only procs blight faster, but it's going to be consuming corpses at an extreme rate, which is going to help keep our Fueled by Death buff up, as well as the Flesh Eater from the Paragon Board, which I'll explain later. 1 point Grim Harvest, 3 points into Fueled by Death. Come down here, max out Death's Embrace, max out Amplify Damage, max out Skeletal Mage Mastery, Death's Approach. You don't necessarily need this in the pit, but I had points left over, so I put this in. Also, if you're fighting Uber Lilith, those beams, those little purple balls that she shoots out during the beginning of the third phase, you need movement speed in order to escape that. Yeah, put 1 point into Decrepify, 1 point Enhanced Decrepify, 1 point Abhorrent Decrepify. This has been a staple of almost any Necromancer build for the longest time now. We're going to be able to curse everything, and minions are actually able to proc the lucky hit chance to reduce cooldown. So as you'll see in the videos that I normally upload, yeah, you'll see the cooldown get reset almost instantly. This just helps with that. More permanent uptime in Blood Mist. 1 point Corpse Tendril up to Plagued Corpse Tendril. This is how we're going to vulnerable the enemies. And with the insane cooldown, we should be able to get a Tendril out every 3 seconds. So we're going to have permanent uptime on vulnerability. Not to mention that we got insane Corpse Tendril radius. I believe the max is 100%. So we're just going to be sucking in enemies all the time. Max out Necrotic Carapace. This is really good, especially when you pop Army of the Dead. It's going to automatically fortify us. I think the corpse consumption, or I mean the corpse generation from the Army of the Dead is so good, you may not even need the 3 points. Maybe even just 1 point is sufficient, I'm not sure, but just go ahead and max this out. If anything, I might consider taking 2 points out or 1 point out, putting it back into more movement speed. Yep. Take Reaper's... I just have 1 point left over. I put it in Reaper's Pursuit. So yeah, like I said, you might like take an extra 1 or 2 points out and put it there if you want it. Especially if you're doing speed runs. Max out Golem Mastery. Army of the Dead. All the way up to Supreme Army of the Dead. Then you're going to max out Inspiring Leader for the crit chance. Minions actually inherit our crit chance as well. So I believe that minions gain 18% increased critical strike chance, and then it says you gain 12%. But because minions inherit 100% of our stats, I believe this could be reworded to minions gain 30% crit chance. I might be wrong, but this is my understanding of how stats are inherited. Max out Hellbent Commander. This is the best passive here in order for damage, 105%. I could get potentially another 3 ranks from an amulet, which is pretty insane, but that's going to be difficult to find one. Yep, and then we're going to put Shadow Blight in. If you don't have the Blighted Aspect on anything yet, and you're just starting, you can take Kalan's Edict. This will give minions more attack speed, and I'll show you in the Paragon board later that there is a skill that actually allows us... it's the Cult Leader Legendary node, and our minions will gain 150% multiplicative damage if we have 100% attack speed. Luckily, this actually leads to more damage with the Blighted Aspect. It's kind of crazy how much damage the Blighted Aspect gives you, but we're also already attack speed capped without this. So yeah, that's the skill tree. Let's move on to... Let's do gear next, and I'll show the Paragon board last. Okay, so for the helmet, I have Occult Dominion on it. Everything that I have is Masterwork to 12 right now. If yours is not, it's not super necessary. It's just kind of like icing on the cake. So cooldown, the most important stat here. Intelligence and life are great. And maximum life and decrepify size. When you try to create a weapon like this, when you try to create any gear, especially ones with life on it, go for the life first before the decrepify size. If you get life and you end up bricking the item and you don't get decrepify size, say you get like corpse explosion size or Iron Maiden size, it's not going to be the end of the world, because you might be able to get the decrepify size and the corpse tendril size elsewhere, and the life is just much better in general. So always go for the life first, use as many tempers as you need to get the life, and then once you hit the life, you profane innovation temper and just hope that you hit either decrepify or tendril. Don't try to go for one or the other. If you hit decrepify size, don't go, oh shit, now I should have actually needed corpse tendril. Nope, take whichever one comes first. If you fish for the exact one you want, you won't get it, you'll end up bricking your item. Blood Getters on the chest piece. Golem Mastery is the best. I got Greater Affix. This chest piece is insane, but it's very impractical to crit 3 times. I'm very surprised I was able to crit twice. I had to reset this thing like 16 times, and it's like 5 million gold per reset. Don't do that. You just try to get Golem Mastery and you're fine. Anytime you masterwork, you want to typically avoid the tempers, like you don't want to hit life or decrep. Really, you just don't want to hit decrepify. So if I hit decrepify on either of these with the masterwork, I would immediately reset. But if you're not too picky, just keep whatever masterwork you get. But like I said, cooldown's best for this. Blood Getters. Skeletal Priests also empower you at 70% effectiveness. I don't think it says this explicitly, but minions gain damage with this. And minions gain life, but then it also empowers us, which gives us life and damage. Except because minions inherit 100% of our stats, they get even more damage and life. So this is giving our golem an insane amount of life regen and damage. You can't go without this one. So yep, more mages, more warriors, and yep, intelligence, life, golem mastery is most important. Same thing with this, temper life first, and then if you have tempers left, go for either decrep or tendril. With the gloves, I have aphotic aspect on it. We have attack speed, crit chance, intelligence. This is a golem build, so don't worry about getting mage ranks on either the gloves or the pants. You don't need it. You just want more intelligence, attack speed. Crit chance is the best thing to masterwork for actually gloves and both rings, because it's much easier to hit the attack speed cap than it is crit chance cap. Yep. So I'm kind of upset that I got the decrep size, but I'm not resetting this item because I hit crit chance twice. Plus it's a greater affix. This is nuts. I'm just going to keep this for now. Aphotic aspect is bugged. So warriors empower skeletal warriors to deal shadow damage. This is really crazy, because for some reason this aspect is leading to more procs of the decrepify than normal. So this is like, you can test this out. Go fight a pack of enemies without aphotic and then with it, and you'll notice the cooldowns come up like twice as fast. This is what allows us to have permanent uptime on almost any cooldown we want to. Our Army of the Dead gets reset before it runs out. Same thing with every other skill. It's nuts. I can imagine how this would also be good for PvP too. I don't think minions are great in general for PvP because you can't control the AI, but you can kind of like dick around in a PvP zone. And if somebody comes across you and they're not paying attention, the minions could just like one-shot them. It's not horrible, but you don't have control over the AI. It's not competitive with like Firewall or Thorn's Barb or any of those crazy broken builds. But yep. For pants, Heart and Bones, this gives us damage reduction and minions damage reduction, except minions inherit 100% of our stats, which means you can reword this to you gain 25% damage reduction and your minions gain 50% damage reduction. So I put Intelligence, Life. I have a resistance roll on here, which lets us take no resistance in the Paragon Board, no resistance jewels. Life, Decrepify Size. The best one to masterwork here would be Intelligence, but Life is also great. Resistance is not very good to masterwork because we're already res capped, so you're getting literally nothing if you hit the masterwork on resistance. So Intelligence is great. Life's good too. This is pretty much good. Also, you're going to want to put the life jewels in all these. Life and helmet, chest, pants, the highest level you can get. Yeah, so now we're going to have explosive mist on the boots. At first, I had movement speed instead of armor. I had double movement speed, which is pretty interesting to run with. But I decided to go with armor. At first, I had armor on the pants, and then I had movement speed on the boots. And I spec'd into a bunch of resistance in my Paragon board, but then I realized like I don't really need the extra movement speed even when I'm speed running. I mean, it's up to you. You can take double movement speed here, armor, but then you'll have to change your whole Paragon board around to spec into resistances. So if you want to go more damage oriented, this is better for the pit. If you're speed running, maybe you want to take armor here and then movement speed here, and then change your Paragon board for resistances. But yep, explosive mist. Like I said earlier, this build is generating corpses to an insane degree. So we're just going to be blowing up all the corpses. We're going to have permanent uptime on Blood Mist. This weapon right here, 240% multiplicative damage for 6 seconds after the Shadow Blight key passive damages enemies 10 times. This is up all the time. There's so many Shadow procs. This is like, I think this is the highest multiplicative damage of any aspect that you can get in the game. Pain Gorgers is 200% I mean, this is nuts. Black River's got nothing on this. Pain Gorger's got nothing on this. You want a two-handed scythe because the damage per hit is higher than with the two-handed sword. So even though two-handed swords have crit damage on it, it's negligible. Additive damage is really bad compared to just having a base higher damage. Plus you also get life on kill too, which is pretty decent sustain. Even if this didn't have life on kill at all, this would still be better for the fact that, like I said, damage per hit's higher. Intelligence, life, and then you can take crit strike damage, or you can just take damage. If you're just starting this build out, maybe damage is better. But crit damage does roll higher, and it is better if you have close to 100% crit chance, because this is just essentially a higher damage roll if you take crit damage. But that's not the most necessary stat. Intelligence, life, crit damage, minion attack speed, golem damage. Alright, so golem damage is very important, but even more important than the intelligence, the life, having that extra masterwork on the minion attack speed is what helps us hit the attack speed cap. We are dropping the Frenzy Dead aspect. We don't need it anymore. This will free up a slot for Circle of Elements. This is more multiplicative damage. This is one of the few differences on my gear between mine and the guy who cleared the 142. The Pit 142, I already have 100% attack speed, so this is like a free damage aspect. So, yeah. Put double emeralds in here for the crit damage, because we're already essentially crit capped. We're like 90 something, I think. Or maybe we are at over 100 with the changes we made. But, yeah. So having the minion attack speed is actually really good. You want to try to temper this on first. You have to hit minion attack speed, and then try to get golem damage. It's much better than summoning damage. If you hit summoning damage and you only have like one temper to go, I would just stop. You could gamble it. If you end up hitting skeletal mage, you're going to be very sad. Golem damage is the best. Summoning damage is all right. Take it if you only have one left, or if you feel ballsy and you want to gamble, go ahead and go for golem. Yeah, you need the minion attack speed. Really, anything here is okay to hit the masterwork on. I would say minion attack speed and intelligence are the best. Like I said, golem damage, that's what's doing our damage is the golem, except additive damage is just kind of shitty the way that it adds into the calculation. This 282% damage is probably... Like, our golem right now is like over 4,000, maybe 5,000 golem damage. We'll check later, but yeah, this is like... It's a chunk, but it's kind of negligible compared to just like 396 intelligence. Also, keep in mind, intelligence does give us resistances passively through that, which lets us get away with taking no jewels and stuff. So yeah, Blighted Aspect. Use it. Use a two-handed weapon. I don't care if you like one-handed weapon with a focus because you like the extra cooldown. Trust me, you're not gonna miss the extra stats. You don't need another aspect with this build. Just Blighted for the 240. This is nuts. Just take it on a two-handed. And I was made aware recently that Unyielding Commander, I should have realized this. Unyielding Commander, it says 150% additive. This is multiplicative, even though it doesn't say so. At first I had Reanimation on here. I was considering dropping Army of the Dead altogether. Like, I can keep my minions alive. I don't need Army of the Dead. So I was like testing the Bone Storm, like Nick2's video, and I thought that was better. Then I went, no, fuck this. I'm gonna drop Bone Storm, and then I was running with like Blight. I threw Blight back in there for the more damage, but then nope. It's actually multiplicative. Plus, our minions do die in the pit. Now they don't really anymore. Yeah, 135% reduced damage, 150% multiplicative. The best amulet to find, you're never going to find it, good luck. Hellbent Commander, Amplify ranks, and Field by Death ranks. What you really want is Hellbent Commander. Everything else is just whatever. I mean, you don't want any shitty stats, but like, Hellbent's the best, Amplify is the next, Field by Death is next. Crit chance is decent, attack speed's decent, percent intelligence, cooldown. There's a bunch of ones that are good. If you can get an amulet with a greater affix on Hellbent, you're pretty much set. But like the god Ami would be like triple greater affix, Hellbent, Amplify, Fueled by Death. You'd be getting so much multiplicative damage. Golem active cooldown or even ultimate active cooldown's fine. And then, yeah, go for that first, and then Golem damage. Actually, you know what? I don't know if it's better to go for Golem damage or active cooldown. Just use your best judgment. It's not... whichever you prefer. Maybe the Golem damage, I don't know. But yeah, you just want to avoid hitting the Skeletal Mage damage. Golem's way better if you hit Summoning, not the end of the world. Yeah, you just want Golem active cooldown. This is what I would do. I would go for the... I would go for either Golem active cooldown reduction first on the Temper, or Ultimate. Whichever one you hit first, just be content. If you hit ultimate, that's fine. Move on to the damage. If you got like 4 rolls left, go ahead and try to hit Golem. Just use your best judgment. Intelligence, let me see. Yeah, okay, so this one, Circle of Elements, like I said, no more need for Frenzied Dead. We're at max attack speed. I was considering going over cap on the attack speed. The minions do get more attack speed, but this is just straight up more damage. It's physical damage is what we're using with the Golem. So for 7 seconds, our golem's getting 30% multiplicative, and then for 7 seconds, it's just not. Yeah, this will help us get some crazy one-shots, even more than normal. Intelligence, attack speed, crit chance. Crit chance is best for masterwork. Intelligence is next best. Attack speed, we don't really need it as much. I'll just show you real quick. Yeah, minion attack speed. So 40.6 plus 70.2, we're already like well above. We're at like 111% or something. So we do not need the. It's good to take the attack speed, but you don't really need the masterwork. Yep, golem cooldown, golem. No need to explain this. Same stats, same strategy. We have reanimation on this ring now. And yep, that's what we're running with. If you don't have attack speed cap, you could swap out elements, but yep, that's our gear. Attack power is not a good measure of how strong you are. It is for barbarians because they get a lot of generic damage, but minions don't really show up in the sheet power or the attack power. So just make sure you're at 9,230 armor. That's the armor cap. Life, blast that as high as you can. We're sitting at more life than most necros because of the unique way that I set up my board. Got a lot of intelligence. Yeah, so let's go over the... Let's see, what did we go over? Let's go through the stats real quick just to kind of show. Resistance capped. Max attack speed. They inherit our attack speed, so you can add these. Crit strike chance, 54.1. But you're also keep in mind that you add the crit chance from the Dreadful Blood Mist, plus you're adding what's in the skill tree, so we're close to 100. This is just little bits of additive damage. Nice to have, nice to have. This is not necessary, but we have it because we're taking the Scourge glyph. I'll explain later why, even though we're not doing shadow damage necessarily. Damage with minions, nice. Warriors. Yeah, we're about 4,000 damage with Golem. Don't overly stack Golem damage, it's just a waste of points. This is our main damage source, but you don't want to... Like, just to put it into perspective, getting 100% additive damage to this will bump it up to 4,070. Like, say we add 100, 4,070, that's negligible. That's like a fraction of a percent. That's like 1 or 2% increase. Yeah, so it's better in general to stack multiplicative damage, not additive. Intelligence is great too. Intelligence is additive too, but intelligence is better to stack. Like, for example, it's better to hit the intelligence masterworks over the golem additive masterworks, because even though the golem damage and the intelligence damage are both additive buckets, intelligence is the smaller additive bucket, so it's just the way the math works out. You want to buff up smaller additive buckets more. The more buckets you have, the better, because each of those buckets is multiplied. But if you have 2 buckets and one has a lot of additive and the other doesn't, adding more to the lower one compared to adding more to the higher one is going to net you more damage. Just to kind of make this more understandable, let's say we have the numbers 2 and 5. One damage bucket's 2, the other's 5. We're multiplying them together. Our total damage is 10. What if I can subtract 1 away from the 5, make it 4, and then add that to the 2? So instead of 2 times 5, what if we do 4 times 3? This is like symbolic of taking out additive damage from the bigger one, putting it into the smaller one. So what you'll notice is 4 times 3 is 12. That's higher than 2 times 5. So the more even each bucket is, the higher damage you're going to get. I don't know if anybody's really talking about this, but yep. Damage, lots of life. Lots of life from these guys. Armor cap. Yeah. Some good movement speed. Corpse tendril effect. Effect size. We're only at 49.3. I think we changed some gear out. Yeah, oh yeah, because I have a bunch of stuff with Decrepify on it. I have 1, 2, 3. Ooh, 4 with Decrepify. I might just... I think after this I'm going to go to each of my... I'm going to find which one has the most tempers, and I'm just going to risk bricking to get Tendril, because that's actually low for Tendril. Yeah. That's our stats. Yeah, decrep size is like way overcapped. All right, let's go to the Paragon board. My pride and joy. This took forever. Lots of testing. This is the best Paragon board. It's better than everybody else's. I don't care what they say. This is objectively the best. We're going to go up the, if you're not res capped, go up the left side. Where we're res capped, we're going up the right side. Damage, lots of life. Lots of life here. This resistance helps us get res capped. If I take this out, we'll no longer be res capped, but we're mostly taking this for the life. I don't need this point. We have amplified damage. This is double dipping. So enemies affected by curse skills take 10% increased damage from you and your minions. The minions do 10% times, and then we're doing 10% times, except we're not doing the damage, so the minions inherit this. So you can reword this to enemies affected by curse skills take 20% increased multiplicative from minions. Any glyphs that are worded like this are great. Take them. Amplify. We're maxing out. We're just boosting this armor. I was able to hit armor cap by doing this. If you want to save, if you're already at armor cap and you want to save a 1 point, you can remove these 3, and you can go boop, boop, put these 2 in. That'll help you get the extra 10, and you'll save these 3 points. Yep. So I just went up this side, grab the damage. It's being scaled up. Now nobody's saying this. I don't know why. Do the bone graft board next. I have essence in here. Bone graft is great for dexterity. There's a lot of dexterity glyphs that we need. Super efficient. We're entering the board. We're grabbing this radius. We're not going beyond the 25. It's a waste of points to max out all the dexterity. Very efficient. Entering the board. Grabbing this. Exiting. But you'll notice we took a little detour. What's this? Boom. 8% life. We're getting 4% life, and it's being doubled because of the... we're meeting the requirement. So we're getting 8% here, 2% here, 2%, 2%. This cluster right here is giving us 14% additional life. This is nuts. I don't know why people are not talking about this. Why are people not taking this? Life is super valuable. It's better than additive damage. It's much better to scale up than additive damage. Taking that. Please take that. Then we're going to go into the cult leaderboard next. Come up to the glyph. We're taking this summoning damage. We're taking Dead Razor. We're taking all the damage reduction nodes in here. This is giving us a lot of damage reduction for minions. We might even be overdoing it. I don't know if it's possible to even go higher. We might just take a point out, but I don't know where else to put it. Yep, so now we have to come down here. We have to get this. It's too important. This is giving us 30% increased damage for each 20%, up to 100 attack speed. This means that 100% attack speed, our minions are doing 150% multiplicative. It's very important to max this out. It's a long ways away from the glyph, but it's necessary. Come through the middle to cut the number of points that you spend. Plus we're coming through here, the damage and attack speed, good. Now we're going up to Hulking Monstrosity board. 50% Golem here. We're taking Corporeal. Super efficient. It's great for intelligence. We're literally just all this Golem additive. We're going up here, grabbing Hulking Monstrosity. I know the board on max roll and a lot of other people are, I don't know why the fuck they're doing this, but golems, all minions inherit 100% of our stats. This means that if we're armor capped, so are our golems, so are all of our minions. This is totally useless. Do not take these nodes. This is a no-no. No armor nodes. Don't path this way. Path around this way. I mean, like I said earlier, additive damage is not the best thing to take and scale up, but this is literally worthless. Don't take it. We're coming this way. We're grabbing Corporeal to scale up that. There's nothing really else better to scale up. If there was a way, if there was like a life in here somewhere in a different board, we would be doing that for sure. But there's no way to scale up life with glyphs. They're always away from it. So now we're going to go Flesh Eater board. And we're putting in Scourge glyph. So real quick, I don't think I explained Yeah, didn't really explain the glyphs, but I mean, you can read it. This is basically 15% multiplicative for you and your minions. So this is 30% multiplicative damage for minions. This is 20% right, video got cut off, so we're gonna have to actually do another one. Corporeal. Yep, this is giving us 20% minion, no, 20% physical damage for minions. Yeah, so then so that's for Golem, that's doing all of our damage. Also, I see a lot of people take this board, but for some reason they're coming around the other side, grabbing the resistances. This is not a bad idea. It might be better to actually come around this way. Like, for instance, come out this way, grab over here, grab the legendary node, and then maybe exit this side if you need resistances. But if you have lots of intelligence, you can end up going with this. So yeah, we're getting a little bit of extra elite damage, and then you're wondering, why the fuck is this guy taking Scourge? Our Golem's doing damage. That's the one doing the damage. The mage damage is negligible, so why are we scaling up shadow damage? We're actually not. We're taking the 40% intelligence within range to activate the Scourge glyph. You and your minions deal 10% times increased damage to enemies affected by shadow damage over time effects. This does not necessarily mean shadow damage is being increased. It does, but it means all minion damage. So if we missed over the enemies, or if we get any kind of like shadow on the ground, like we missed over the enemies, our explosive mist detonates the blighted corpses. We got blighted corpses everywhere on the ground over the boss. This means that our Golem is going to get 20% multiplicative because you and your minion. So our Golem is getting 20% multiplicative damage if there's shadow on the ground. There's always shadow on the ground. Oh, I got disconnected. What the hell? Alright, I'm going to have to... That's weird. I'll just end this one and make a new little video. Connected more in the last day or two than ever. Alright, so where were we? We were past there. Past that. Scourge. Yeah, so our Golem's getting 20% multiplicative. Everything's always affected by shadow. At least the bosses always, so, yep. A lot of ints are clustered here too, so it's kind of nice just entering, taking these little clusters here to get the 40% or the 40 int, and then we're out of here. Next board, this is a 7-board setup too. This board, Bloodbath, this is a great one for dexterity. We're able to just quickly enter the board. We're essentially just entering the board, grabbing the glyph, and leaving. We're only making 1 point detour down to get that extra 5. Super efficient. Exploit, unfortunately, I don't think that this double dips. So, like, dealing damage to vulnerable, this is just 10% multiplicative. This is probably the least important of the glyphs, but it's still multiplicative. I see a lot of people running with control, but control does not work against bosses because they can't be crowd controlled. You can stagger bosses. So you do, essentially this and all the other glyphs give us high consistent damage. If you want to swap maybe this glyph or maybe Scourge, I'd probably swap out Exploit. If you want to swap out Exploit for control, you'd be doing an insane amount of damage to like players, or if you're running the pit, you'll be running the actual pit faster, but then the boss will be slower. You will get bursty damage against bosses when they're staggered, but I prefer the consistent damage. Bosses are just not staggered more than they're staggered. This is, enemies are always vulnerable. This is just a consistent 10% times damage, so I recommend not taking control. Unless you're doing PvP, that's the exception. Yep, so we're taking that. Exiting the board, another quick detour. More life here. So 2, 4, that's 6, 8. Yeah, 8. This is Fortify. Yeah, 8% damage. We would have exited this way anyways, so we're spending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're spending 8 points. We're getting 8% life. This is a 1% life per point. That's very good. So I took that as well. If you want to save, okay, this is Scent of Death. If you want to save points on this board, you can come through this way and exit that way, but I recommend using the last points to go this way, and you'll see why. We're taking Scent of Death to give us either damage reduction or damage. This is actually going to be kind of useless against pit bosses because we're going to be on top of the boss to maximize Hellbent Commander, because we got to stand close to the enemies. And there's also going to be corpses near us all the time, so that should give us damage reduction, which is nice to avoid some one-shots, except we're going to be misting too, so we're kind of invulnerable. If this was flipped, if it said with at least 2 corpses nearby, you gain damage, and then if there's no corpses nearby, you gain damage reduction. This would be very nice. So I think that's kind of how Gravekeeper's worded, but Gravekeeper didn't make it into the setup. I tried fitting in 8 boards. You can watch the previous stream from the night before. It failed miserably. The damage was insane, having 8 glyphs, but I lost, like... My life was, like, 28,000. It just was not worth it. Yeah, so we're taking... So our final board. Scent of Death. We're taking more life here. It's along the way. We're only spending 3 points to get to 8% life. Scent of Death. This is great to put the Golem in, because we have a bunch of willpower clustered right here. Everything is just clustered right on the side. So this is a good place to end it. At first, when I finished my board, it would look like this. And then I didn't know where the hell to put the points at. There's no other life to put in. There's no need to put res, no need to put armor. There was just literally no place to put my points. So I had 5 points left over. I put 1 here, which I don't even know if this is giving me more DR for my minions, because they're already pretty much like immune. Or not immune, but like if they're going to die, they're just going to die. Having that is not going to make the difference. There's heavy diminishing returns on minion DR. So I just went, okay, well, if I'm going to put it into additive damage, I might as well put it into the Golem additive damage. So I just decided to go, the only remaining willpower is here, 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 and here. They're off to the edge, so this is horrible. I would have to take, like, this node, and then all of the, like a step ladder. I'd have to take all of these just to get the willpower. It's just a total waste of points. So with the last 4, I just took the ints, came up, take these willpower. And that is our Paragon board. I don't think I could have came up with anything better. I've tried. If you have any recommendations, ways to switch glyphs to make it more efficient, please, by all means. I don't know if it's possible. The only difference between this and the guy who cleared the 142 is, like I said, he took the Golem armor for whatever reason. It's useless. He maxed out this, so he actually did take all these willpower notes. I forget which glyphs I believe he has control. It's not as good with the bosses. Yep, this is our board. I think that's about it. Yeah, let me think of if there's any other things I can bring up real quick. If anybody has, like, just like preemptively answer any questions that people might have. Yeah, at first I thought this was additive damage. It's wrong. It's actually multiplicative. So I put it here. Yeah, I mean, when you're, like, you can see from my pit clears, I've already done a 128. I almost beat 129. I just got bad bosses. I could go into the 130s, if not higher. I was using both the Holy Bolt and the Anti-Venom. This for the life. This is for the crazy one-shots. You'll notice once you get above 20, once you get above 120 in the pit, having the Holy Bolt, it's not like, people say this is like a godsend, like this is going to make a build that can do an 80 all the way up to a 150. Like if you can clear a pit 80 and you throw a Holy Bolt on, oh, you're gonna be able to do 150 now. It doesn't work like that. You still got to kill enemies in order for this to proc. So yeah, I could clear past 130 with the Holy Bolt. Without the Holy Bolt, just subtract like 10 tiers, so I could clear with a good boss, decent map, I can clear 120 without a Holy Bolt, or into the 130s or higher. Also, keep in mind I'm on PS4 too, so I'm at a high disadvantage. Not even on PS5. Yeah, so PS4 makes it extremely difficult to aim stuff. That's why it's good to get the higher radius, but yeah. I think that's about it. See if there's anything else I can think of. Yeah, if you have any questions about this build, feel free to tell me. If you have any suggestions, let me know. If you want to give me a Greater Affix Hellbend Commander amulet, that'd be great. I only have 700 million now. I just sold my, I got another chess piece like this that had Golem Mastery on it. So that actually helped me get back gold. Seems like farming gold is not worth it. When you can just like why do Whispers when you can just like farm Helltide or the Goblin event, get Greater Affix gear, and then just sell it for like billions. It's kind of nuts, but yep. Yeah. So what else is there to say? You can stack the Holy Bolt Elixir with the Anti-Venom Elixir because one is seasonal, one's a quest potion. You can stack 3 Incense. So for this build, I recommend running with, I think it's Chorus of War, Soothing Spices, and Redamine Buzz. That's just going to give life, a lot of extra stats, a lot of intelligence. Yeah, I guess I can talk about playstyle a little bit. For the playstyle, I just, whenever I see an enemy, I decrep them. I might like run around the pack a little bit, decrep as much as I can. I'll throw up the Army of the Dead, which spawns corpses. That lets me tendril them, and then I'll maybe decrep them again to make sure that I have them all decrept. And I'll just, anytime tendril goes up, I spam it. Anytime Army of the Dead or Golem comes up, I spam it. You do need to hit skeleton periodically to make sure that you have that bar going across the skeleton skill, which means that the priest is up. Yeah, and then you don't want to spam Blood Mist. I know it's tempting because with this setup, you're gonna be permanently immune. You could just stand still and just go from mist to mist to mist. But you don't want. You need to keep vulnerable up, so you can't do that. You need to cast Tendril. You need to decrep. It does run out. It's very long. I think it's like 10 or 20 seconds. But yeah, you do need Army of the Dead going to get the multiplicative bonus. So I recommend just spamming all your decrep, spamming all your cooldowns, and then when everything's going, then mist, dance around in the pack for 2-3 seconds, go out, spam everything else, clump them up again, go in, mist. Yep. That's the build. I don't think there's anything else to go over. My previous build guide, I went over vampiric powers, but I guess there's no powers to talk about here. I guess I could talk about a couple skill tree changes that you can possibly do. With Lilith, you absolutely need this movement speed. For the pit, you don't need it. So if you wanted to, you could take these points out. You could then put 1 point here into Crippling Darkness. We have tons of shadow going all the time. This just makes sure that enemies are really stun locked. This will increase the stagger rate of bosses. So if you're running the pit, I probably would actually, yeah, if you're running the highest level pit, I probably would take this out, have this going, and then the last 2 points I would put into, if you don't reach armor cap, you can put the points here. It's very useful, like 9331, we're armor capped, but just to put this into perspective, 1 point, we're at 9,700, so this is kind of crazy how high this goes up. Unfortunately, having thorns on minions no longer procs the Decrepify faster. So before, like, first of all, minions are not supposed to proc Decrepify, but they do still. Minions originally did not proc Hewed Flesh, but they did proc the Decrepify with, so like an enemy would hit the minion and the thorns would actually help to reset the Decrepify. So thank you, Macro Bio Boy. He told Blizzard that something weird's going on. So we're getting the Decrep reset with spiked armor, but we're not getting it with hewed flesh. We should be getting more corpses. So Blizzard's like, oh, thank you. So now neither works. So minions don't proc hewed flesh, but it's still good to use because we have other skills that do proc it. And this also, so this has always been the case, but now this no longer works. So it's not worth taking that point for the more cooldown reset. But on the upside, Aphotic is bugged, so that should more than make up for it. Yeah. Oh wait, didn't I have 3 points in here? Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for Lilith, you she's never gonna be staggered, so you just don't need that. If anything, you want to max this out. With Lilith, you're either going to get one shot or you're not, so you could always take those 2 points, blast that, and you'll really make sure you can run away from the enemy. I've cleared Lilith several times just by using this exact setup. It's also pretty good for them. This is like the most all well-rounded tree right here, just for everything. So some other changes. If you do really need the crit chance, I feel like most people might, you can swap out elements for Grasping Veins, and you'll be, at that point, you'll definitely hit the crit chance. Unfortunately, the multiplicative damage, people say that it's bugged and it doesn't work for minions. It does not work for minions, but it is not bugged. It is a debuff on the enemies. The enemies take 50% multiplicative damage when you apply Corpse Tendril, so people are saying that it's bugged for minions, it's not working. It was never intended to work. So for that reason, if you take Grasping Veins, it's only for the crit chance. So if you do have to take Grasping Veins, if that puts you more than 10% over the crit chance cap, then you can go ahead and take this out, put it in here. But like I said earlier, we're going to have so many corpses, this is negligible. So I highly recommend taking Dreadful Blood Mist. Try to get the crit chance capped. Even if you're not crit chance capped, even if you're like a solid like 85 to 90% or close to 100 but not quite there, your Golem is not going to crit every hit. So it's going to be RNG a small portion of the time, but this is a lot of multiplicative damage. Yep, I kind of explained how to temper as well. Oh, also, okay, when you're creating this gear, always temper first, because you can brick an item tempering. You cannot, it's expensive, but you cannot brick an item enchanting and masterworking. You can always continue enchanting, it costs gold, but you can do that. To get the amount of gold that I have, just to get a lot, I recommend selling high affix gear, like double or triple affix gear that has decent stats. If it's triple affix and it has life or attack speed, crit chance, or even like a plus skill, you can bet that some niche build is using it. People will spend hundreds of millions for it. Yeah, so like always temper first because you can break the item, and whenever you do temper, always go for the life first. So I will do a quick example because I feel like it's important. I know a lot of people fuck up their gear and it makes me frustrated. So we will grab... Alright, no, that's going to be difficult to roll the... Ideally, you want a chess piece that drops with the Golem Mastery on it because it is hard to roll off for Golem Mastery. So let's find like a somewhat shitty piece that I can demonstrate the best way to roll it. Is there anything not greater affix, just really bad? Everything's here's kind of good, but okay, here we go. This is this has the right stats you would want, but it's not greater affix. So this is how you craft a godly ring in the most efficient way possible. So a ring like this, you're going to want to hit intelligence, attack speed, crit chance. So we're missing the crit chance. Do not enchant. First thing you're going to do is you're going to come over here to the blacksmith, and let's look at what tempers we want. We want either ultimate cooldown or golem active cooldown, and then we're going to want the golem damage. So first things first, we temper. the ring, go resource first, Necromancer efficiency. We have a 50% chance of hitting one of those. So we're going to temper it. There. Okay, we hit the perfect one on the first try. Yeah, that doesn't happen often. There it is. Done. Offensive. Summoning damage is alright. Skeletal mage damage is shitty. We really want Golem. I feel like because we're off to a very good start, we can go for the Golem. So we're gonna offensive, summon, temper. Okay. Okay, I guess we're just gonna hit the perfect ones immediately. Yeah, so I guess we're done tempering. Goddamn. Yeah, don't worry about masterworking. You don't want to start masterworking until you have a piece like this, like double greater affix. 2 good ones. Like this is worth masterworking. I got the greater affix on the cooldown. That's the best stat. So at this point, next thing you're going to want to do is if this is if this is a clear upgrade over a ring, so there's 2 ways you can go with this. If you have a ring that's very good and you're not sure if you're going to swap this out yet necessarily, then you can go ahead and enchant the Shadow Res first. But if this is already going to be a strong upgrade, like say I were to just fuck everything else up from here, if you could just throw an aspect on and this will be better than what you got, then go ahead and do that. So so let's say, for example, we're going for reanimation. This is much better to have than elements. So let's say you don't have any of these yet. Go for the reanimation first. It's better. Go here. We're gonna imprint, and then we're gonna go find reanimation. There, we have reanimation on it now. Then you're going to want to, because this is where you're going to burn most of your resources. You're going to add a socket to it. Cool. Try to put an armor in it. If you are not res capped or armor capped, then I would go for the resistance, go for a diamond in here, because you can always change, like I said, you can always change some of these points around. You could remove a couple of these points. You could remove, I would remove this first, maybe 1 point, maybe a couple from here, pump it up into here. Boom, now you're armor capped. Great. Throw the res in here. So you're gonna throw a diamond in there if you need it. If you don't, armor is better in general. There are so I'm not taking any res nodes in my Paragon board, but there are better armor. There are better. What am I trying to say? There are better resistance nodes in the Necromancer boards than there are armor nodes. You can scale up resistances quite a lot. So go for resistance in your Paragon board if you need it, and take armor in the jewel. This is better than trying to get every armor node in the board and then throwing resistances on. It's just the magnitude of the armor versus resistance. It's just better to take armor in the jewels if you can. In some weird circumstances, you might be severely resistance capped except for 3. Like maybe you're at 70 for all of them, but you're like at 30 or 40 for these 3. Then you can go ahead and throw a fire res, a lightning res, cold res. But for the most part, it's either going to be a diamond or armor, a skull. So just do that. Yep. So now, at this point, the only thing left to do is to enchant. So I'm just going to show. I'm pretty sure you know how to enchant already. It's going to be cheap, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Oh, I can't. Angel Breath. I spent all of it getting the anti-venom. Well, that's another thing Blizzard needs to change, is we need a way to actually get more Angel Breath. I know I can run events, but I hate doing that. Because anytime I'm in a Helltide, I'm at the Blood Maven boss, but yep, I can run events. So you're just going to enchant off the Shadow for crit chance, and then you're going to have a ring that's, I mean, just as good as this, to be honest. Doesn't have greater affixes, but you're going to have int, attack speed, crit chance, Golem, double golem, perfect aspect. Yeah. And it didn't cost me very many resources. So the video is getting very long. I think this is like already an hour. This is insane. But yeah, I got a bunch of extra shit here. I'm gonna go ahead and end it if there are no other things I need to go over. At the beginning of this video, I'm going to splice in a bunch of kills, an Uber Lilith kill with no potion at all. No Holy Bolt, none of that shit. Uber Duriel kill, Uber Andariel kill, no Holy Bolt, no Incense, no extra health potions, just exactly what we have here. Yep, real quick over the gear again. This, I'm sure you can rewind it too, but video is long and ranty as it is, might as well. The only one of the changes that would really allow me to like beat a record would be to get a greater affix on Hellbent and then at least double crit or triple crit. I feel like I could, if I got a greater affix Hellbent that had 3 on it, and I double crit on it, I feel like I can double crit. Triple critting is just another story. Like triple critting would be +7. That's so fucking hard. That would be 1 more rank of Golem Mastery. 1 more rank. Yeah, 1 more rank of Golem Mastery. 3 more ranks of Hellbent, and those 2 changes would essentially be all I needed to beat the record. I don't know what the highest console clear is. If anybody knows what the highest, because everybody's playing PC, it seems like. So like Rob's releasing a lot of videos of like Sorcerer clearing 140. I think Makuna cleared 153 with a friend today. That's nuts. I don't know what it's like for PS5, and for PS4 it's even harder. But rule of thumb, PC is easier to play. You have more freedom, less lag, more control over your character, how you use stuff with the mouse. It's just better. You could see more of the screen on PC. So for PC players, they're at a high advantage. PS5 kind of has similar issues that the PS4 has, except they don't have really any lag. They do lose the ability to aim stuff though, so I pretty much lose the ability to aim stuff, and then I also got insane load times. Sometimes I'll load into the pit and they'll be 10-15 seconds gone just by loading in. Whenever I'm playing with buddies, I'm always the last one loaded in. So like sometimes if they're dumbasses and they run out and start attacking, then I'll just die. I'll be dead. I won't even die. I'll be dead when I load in. Yep. Some changes if you're running very low pits for Neatheron, if you're farming Neatheron. Oh, also keep in mind that you can farm up Neatheron and then you can break them down into the smaller materials using the Alchemist. Yeah, so you could run Blood Golem if you're doing lower ones. Also, it's kind of like Diablo 3, where once you hit a 0 on the pit, like for example, a threshold, like doing an 80 or a 90 or a 100, going from 99 to 100, you get 1 more Neatheron, but the health and the damage of the enemies goes up a lot. So if you're focusing on Neatheron farming for masterworking, then you should be running 9, 19, 29, 39, 49. I feel comfortable running 99s. I could go higher, but if I get a bad boss, then it's just difficult. This is the best version of my build. I think for me now, my sweet spot will be 109. Even if I got Sharpshooter, Holy Bolt doesn't work, doesn't matter. I should be able to just clear 109. Yeah, so for consistency, you can use this. I feel like I die equal, regardless of whether I take this, so I just go damage. Yep, okay, so we went over everything you can possibly do with this. All the potential changes. We went over the Paragon Board. The only changes that I would recommend, not recommend, but any changes you can do is you can remove these 4 points. put it in somewhere else. But I don't know where else it would be. So yeah, this is our step ladder. You can shape this in any way you want. We're coming out, we're entering one side and always exiting from a corner, with the exception of the final board. We just go straight out. But yeah, so like if you wanted, you can do a snake. You can go, if it's more appealing to do the snake, you can go joop, 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 like this. So you're just like, well, this is just aesthetic shit. I don't even need to really talk about this. You could rotate this 90 degrees clockwise, have it go down, and then you can like take this board and you can have it go out this way. So if you like the snake and you want the board to look like that, you can do that. I like the step ladder. It makes it easier to see. So I go up this way. These are just aesthetic things. If you're using a build that you can use 9 boards, I don't even know why I'm talking about this at this point, but if you can use 9 boards, you can go, you do a spiral, you can go jupe, jupe, and then go 2 down and go out that way. That's just aesthetic stuff. Do not prioritize aesthetics. I'm only talking about this because you have freedom. The closer your board is to the first board, it affects the requirement. So the closer it is, the easier it is to hit the double bonus requirement. It doesn't matter how you orient the board. If you do a snake, you're still gonna, I mean, it's still the second connected to the third, connected to the fourth. Yep. So those are our glyphs. I suppose if you're just making this build now, I should have just done this. So much nicer. Yeah, this is way nicer. If you're leveling glyphs, get all the ones that I named. Amplify, Dead Razor, Corporeal, those are the most important to level first. Even Golem. You know what? They all kind of are. Just level them all up to 15. You can maybe, and then once you're trying to level them up to 21, maybe do Exploit last, maybe Scourge second last. But yep, they're all very important. That's about it. There's nothing else I can... Wow, right on my outro. The video ended. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that it inspired you to try this build out. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to address them in the comment section. Like this video if you thought that it was helpful, or you can dislike this video if you think that I'm fucking trash, or you hate me, or you think the build's garbage, or maybe I should be using more additive damage or whatever. You could also do that. You consider subscribing if you want to stay up to date with Diablo related content. I always have countless ideas just buzzing around in my head with seemingly no way to express it. So this channel is my self-expression, and my videos are the fruits of my internal dialogue. I like to talk about a wide variety of topics, including video games, science, politics, music, and philosophy. Just anything that generates an interesting, fruitful discussion is fair game. I do like to sing. So yeah, I do videos like that. I'm thinking about posting some drum videos. I like playing the drums. I think it's kind of interesting that a lot of musicians and science people and gamers, there's like an overlap. Even politics, it's like this weird overlap of those things. But yeah, if you like me or this video, or you want to play sometime or join my clan, you can join the clan. It's just named after my channel, Fruits of Hedon. Let's see. Jeez, the load time. Just even moving between tabs, it's horrible. Yep, Fruits of Hedon. I got one buddy joined recently. I believe he's a YouTube subscriber. He's a cool guy. So yeah, I just made this recently. So feel free to join. I'm on PlayStation. And my BattleNet is Hedon. That's HEDON 157 pound 1120. If you want to add me. But yeah, thank you for watching my video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See ya.